food, the music, the vibe. Kick off your summer at the Ohio Black Expo Riverfront Culture Fest. Tell your friends, share with family. There's no other place to be Memorial Day weekend. Celebrate Black excellence.
Plus 2 concerts featuring Tidra Moses, Talib Kweli, and Jay Rawls, the one and only Marsha Ambrosius, and more.
Experience the African diaspora at its finest. So go to OhioBlackExpo.com for tickets, updates, and more. Visit OhioBlackExpo.com. That's OhioBlackExpo.com.
Introducing the African Diaspora News Channel app, your gateway to stories that's overlooked by the corporate mainstream media.
At African Diaspora News Channel, we cover stories that don't receive mainstream attention, and we serve as the voice to the global Black community. We are committed to informing and educating through the power of media, connecting the African diaspora one story at a time.
With our platform, we're helping to end injustice by exposing it.
Join us in standing for excellence in journalism and serving our community. Download the African Diaspora News app today.
Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. You are tuned in to your sister with the curly braids right here on African Diaspora News Channel. Family, as you come in, be sure to come in, give us a big thumbs up, thumbs up. Be sure to like and be sure to share the broadcast. That way it will activate the notifications and other folks will know that we are here. And for that, we say thank you so very much. Family, we have got to talk. Beloved, I hope you are ready to listen. I won't be long, but I will be strong. Now, how many of you all know that we in the alternative Black media spaces, independent spaces, networks just like this one, African Diaspora News Channel, headed by our dear brother Phil Scott here. Of course, the Vicki Show, I have been on multiple other networks prior to this one, along with this one, as well as my own at VickiDillard.tv and other platforms and other things that I'm doing as well online in different media spaces. So over the years, we have been consistent with connecting directly to the people, yes? And we did not seek legacy media, establishment media. We did not accept bones and biscuits and bootlicks. Talk black to me, somebody. And other inferior benefits, so-called benefits, to be a echo chamber for the powers that shouldn't be, right? We didn't go that route. And so over time, in the beginning, when we started this out, of course, they mocked us. Yes, they laughed at us. But then they start copying. Talk like to me, somebody. And that's exactly what they're trying to do now. You may say, why? Why? Is because it is us that had the outside influence during this past election. We won the Democrats failed to win the presidency because of us. The Democrats failed to win the Senate because of us. The Democrats lost the House of Representatives because of us. How many of you all know that's not by accident? That's not random. That's not speculative. And when we looked at the numbers, we found that notwithstanding what the other subgroups in the Democrat Party were, if Black folks had showed up in our normal traditional numbers like we have done in times past, the Democrats would have won. But they didn't. And those that were Black looking folks, the Black bootlicks, the Black shields that parroted the talking points of the White House at the time and the Democrat Party, all of their advice, y'all did the opposite. Talk black to me, somebody. So family, I want you to prepare yourself to watch this clip of y'all's former First Lady. Some of you all colloquially call her your, what do you call her? Your forever First Lady. Yes. Now, I get it. When she first, with the thought of the Obamas and all that, that was a cute little thought. But before he officially even ran, before he officially, when it was out there in the news that he was going to do it many years ago, almost 20 years ago now, before it was official, when it was official, I sounded the alarm, first of all, that Barack Obama was not going to be a change agent. He was just going to be a face for white supremacy and some more things. I was in the midst of like a spiritual group at the time, and some of my spiritual sisters were so mad at me, one in particular, because she was a delegate during that time. And so she was heavily and deeply involved in the Democrat Party. She had her child involved in the election at that time, too. And so she was really upset with me and just thought I had missed it. And of course, I was absolutely right. Now, don't get me wrong. The optics of having a black family in the White House is wonderful, yes. But baby, we got to go. Black folks ain't got time for no optics. We don't have time for visuals. How many of y'all know we need substance and tangibles? Let me get my gavel on that. How many of y'all know we hold court here at the Vicki Show? Whatever platform I'm on. We don't have time for just narratives and good looks. It's been hundreds of years since we've been enslaved or oppressed in one form or another. What we look like, sit up here talking about we're excited just to see somebody black in the White House. We want somebody black in the White House that flex some power. But with that being said, they ignored us, they mocked us, they dogged us, right? Well, now that the Democrats lost royally, without a doubt, they are sitting there licking their chops and trying to do everything but the right thing, including create online podcasts. Guess who has a podcast now? Y'all's forever First Lady. I want you to prepare yourself to watch this very short clip, listen to a very short clip of her new podcast. Now, watch this. Before we do that, and I'm not going to talk too much because I'm going to get right to it, but I need to set, a little bit of a, give you a little bit of context. Her new show, as you're going to see well, actually, I don't know if you're going to be able to actually see. I was going to say in the title, but you may not be able to see it in the title. It's called IMO. Family, her IMO podcast, she's doing Michelle Obama with her brother, Craig Robinson, right? IMO, for those of you that don't know, stands for In My Opinion. So this is the brilliant new name and podcast that she's got going called In My Opinion. Well, mainstream media folk, legacy media folks, cable media, and certainly the podcast world and alternative media, the multimedia world, they're mocking them because a lot of folks are saying how when it first came out, the numbers were low and stuff, and people are just mocking her left and right. They just dragging her, just all kind of stuff. Black women are tripping because of some of the comments. I'll get into that on the other side. I don't want to get off into all that. I'll save my commentary for the other side of this video. I want you to watch this brief part of this podcast. And I'm going to connect some dots for you because I want you to see, I'm going to give you one example of how she disrespected Black folks and Black media. This podcast was like 53 minutes and 12 seconds. And family, how do I know it was 53 minutes and 12 seconds? Because I suffered for 53 minutes and 12 seconds. Through and through and through. Now, how many of y'all know sometimes there are some broadcasts and stuff that you can watch, and sometimes they talk about different topics, so you can skip through some of the podcasts and then get to the topic that they talking about. I just had to suffer. I had to just suffer and suffer and suffer. And you're gonna share in the suffering now. But I'm gonna make a point here. So get ready to watch this brief clip now.
We started talking about this at the outset, why we're doing this show.
Post White House and writing the books and doing book tours, speaking at leadership conferences, things you do as a coach, you realize that what we have, even in our lack of resources, in our household growing up, we had people who would share their opinions, give us advice. We had mentors, and we were used to mentoring and being mentored. And I realized that a lot of people don't have that. They don't have a safe place to come sometimes, right, where they feel comfortable being vulnerable and asking hard questions, or they don't have people in their lives they trust. They are lone wolves, or maybe they have contentious relationships where they're estranged from the people they could rely on. So a lot of people out there are looking for guidance. A lot of people have questions they want to know, especially when they see somebody of note with a platform who you know, by every measure look successful, the first question is, how? How'd you do this? Tell me more. So I can only access so many people through books or at tours or at, you know, limited leadership conferences. So I think this podcast, first and foremost, gives us an opportunity to hear from folks. You know, we're going to be taking, you know, questions from listeners who are going through some things and just need a little advice. They want to hear from people in conversations, and folks are looking for a place where they can just they can hear stories. You know, I mean, what I realize is, like, by sharing some of these stories, you know, it always taps into something from somebody else. People, you know, they want to hear some honest kind of conversation about how people are working it through. And we don't have all the answers, you know. I mean, this show isn't about us being experts at anything other than the lives that we've lived. But what we do have are a lot of opinions.
Hence the name.
In my opinion.
All that's a lie. All that's an absolute lie, family. I'm just, look, I'm a straight shooter. I'm not thinking, child, ma'am, you are not on the South Side anymore. All them years ago, Michelle Obama, you are a multi-millionaire. You and your husband, you have a house in Martha's Vineyards and stuff, one in Chi-Town and stuff. Girl, ma'am. All that's a lie. Did you all feel like that you was getting ready? When I was in school, I'm 46 years of age. I was born and raised in Mississippi. I now live in the Wild Wild West. When I was in school, little elementary school, down south, they used to get us ready for our little naps and stuff. And they would tell us a story, monotone. The teacher didn't put a lot of excitement in her voice because we had to pull out at the time what they call cots. What y'all know about them cots? How many of y'all know that? So when I was little, that's what they did. They gave us little cots and stuff so that we could take little naps and stuff in school. Now, we had pre-K, we had kindergarten and all that. My first elementary school, it was what was it? East End, what was that? That was pre-K. Then kindergarten through 5th grade is the elementary school I went to. Then we had a middle school, then I had a junior high school, then I had a high school. That's a lot. But that's where I just went down in the city where I'm from. Watch this. So I was taken back to story time. I started yawning. I started getting real relaxed and stuff. My eyes started getting real heavy and stuff. So this is why I said I suffered through these 53 minutes and 12 seconds for the people. Because I had to make sure I didn't miss nothing, and I had to make sure that I got the context right before I started talking on this. Now, y'all knew I heard about this a few days ago, and so I had to wait till I got here to talk to you all about it. And I said, well, child, let me go and get this out the way. Now, why am I talking about y'all's former First Lady, Michelle Obama? Number one, when I first came on the scene all those years ago on online media spaces, first of all, I was doing work offline. Let's be clear, for many years. When I came online to some of the other platforms that I was on and helped to build and to grow on multiple platforms and stuff over the years, I didn't hear anybody at the time talking anything or criticizing former First Lady Michelle Obama and her husband and stuff. It was not personal for me. I didn't get into somebody's look. I wasn't calling the lady Big Mike and all that stuff, some of the stuff that y'all be calling that. I don't get off into all that. I was dealing exactly with the fact that they were using their beautiful melanin, their blackness, on behalf of white supremacy. I was criticizing policy and how they were misusing and misdirecting the optics so that Black folks would not properly criticize or demand anything of them. So when I came out, I'll never forget, I was on Fly Nubian Queen and some of those other affiliate networks. And I can remember the former head of that network coming to me saying that nobody's ever talked about her like that in that way before. And he was grateful that I did because it was a different perspective. But y'all drug me. Oh my goodness. Y'all, My videos were going viral on that stuff back in the day because it was on Facebook. And then I went to YouTube, and it was, like I said, it was different ones. Family, y'all drugged me so hard. The comments was outrageous. Y'all acted like I committed the ultimate form of blasphemy when I started criticizing how they were misusing their blackness on behalf of this white supremacist imperialist government and didn't do nothing substantive for black folks. Family, let me tell y'all something. Now everybody and their mama sitting there speaking like I'm speaking now. And none of you thought that my criticism at the time was going to make a difference. And look now, nobody ever thought that there would be any chinks in the armor of the Obamas. Let me tell you something. In that clip, she says something very interesting. She said, and I need y'all to listen real good before I get into great detail about some of this other stuff. I ain't got long, but I'm going to be strong. How does she disrespect black media? Michelle Obama, in that 53 minutes and 12 seconds, I'm going to keep saying all the way down to the seconds, podcast with her brother. They started out talking about her being from the south side of Chicago and all that stuff, and about how broke her family were in middle class, and how it was only one bedroom, and they turned one bedroom into 2 or 3 different little side rooms, and how they had to make little makeshift walls and stuff, and how their mama made the little curtains and stuff, and how their mama and them didn't know all the answers and stuff. And then they talked about how they cleaned chores and stuff, and how one of them was supposed to clean the toilets in the bathroom and one didn't, and all that. I mean, it was bedtime story. Family, I kept listening, like, oh my God, when are we going to get to the politics of this? Because I know this is absolutely outrageous. Watch this. It was all the way toward the end of the podcast that they reiterated again why they're doing this. Now, in the beginning of the podcast, they talked about why they were doing it, but they went into greater depths. And I found the last part of the podcast the most offensive. Did you hear her on that video tell us? This is a context. That she grew up with mentors. And that, she grew up with mentors, and that folks are looking for mentors. That was the context of that section that you just heard. I'm emphasizing that I listened to the whole podcast because I want you all to know that I know what I'm talking about. She literally links not having someone to mentor them with us and why she started this podcast. Family. We'll be getting into black media in just a minute. She said that her books and her speeches can only reach so far. Did y'all catch that? How many of y'all know she had a best-selling book called Becoming? And she broke all kind of book records. She was filling coliseums and in large venues. She was selling so much. She became, millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of books. How many of y'all know that? I'm going to give her credit where credit is due. Y'all know that they get paid upwards of 6 plus figures. I think it's probably even into the millions. For certainly her husband, for sure her husband does for speeches, right? I don't hate on nobody's money and they level up family, but I just don't want to be going back talking about middle class and pretending like that's somehow going to reel me in when I know you're part of the elite today. You are so much a part of the elite former First Lady Michelle Obama that I helped to criticize you because you were so chummy with a war criminal that is George Bush. How many of y'all know Michelle Obama? She went viral back in the day because she was all colored up with George Bush in pictures, but then it wasn't just the optics of it. She broke down the fact on a TV interview with George Bush's daughter on one of the morning shows, because one of his daughters ended up getting a gig on one of the mainstream networks morning shows. She talked about all the stuff that she had in common with George Bush, the values. They didn't just share gum and candy at a funeral. They didn't just sit together as folks from the White House in meetings, in important ceremonies. She talked about all the values they share. How they the same on stuff. And simultaneously criticize her very black, progressive pastor. I'm going to read you an excerpt for that in a minute. How many of y'all remember that she stood 10 toes down with her husband as he rejected and denounced the man that married them and that baptized her children? How many of you all know that Barack Obama on multiple occasions denounced on the debate stage, no less, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? And because Hillary Clinton, who likened us to dogs and animals and savages, said that we need to be brought to heel in support of her husband's anti-Black crime bill that was being passed. She was making sure that she reinforced the environment. That's what white Beckies do. She helped to reinforce the environment to normalize that anti-Black behavior. At Hillary's urging, Obama went even further in his denunciation of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Mr. Farrakhan came out later and talked about the fact of how Obama came to him to support his campaign and made it clear to the minister that he wasn't going to be going far and deep with any kind of real, support or anything like that, but just wanted the Nation of Islam support. Did y'all know that Obama went to them for their support? And Minister Farrakhan came out and made it clear to Obama where he stood. He ended up supporting them. I believe the Nation of Islam and them at the time. Watch this. Denounced and dogged the folks that we appreciate. They came out and dogged their own pastor, Minister Farrakhan, and those similarly situated. How many of y'all remember that? The main reason I wanted you all to hear her intimate that they started this podcast because she acknowledged the limits of their media reach. Did you all know that Michelle Obama came out sometime back after the loss of the election and all that, and she said she couldn't believe that we didn't come out to vote? So do you all understand that the Democrat Party is still in denial? And they're tripping because they sent out Barack Obama. How many of y'all remember Barack Obama? He went out to help Kamala during the campaign. Y'all remember that? And how many of y'all remember Barack Obama came out and disrespected Black men in particular, but Black folks in general with his support of her? Talk Black to me, somebody. His statements on the campaign trail. How many of y'all know that all during his campaign and prior to, he was talking down to Black folks so much before he became president that Jesse Jackson was caught on a hot mic cussing out Barack Obama, talking about basically what he could do with his certain parts of his body for disrespecting Black folks. How many of y'all know he was disrespecting us before he became president, before he secured the election, that Jesse Jackson was caught on a hot mic dogging Obama for his disrespect of us? I'm bringing that up because this is the environment of the Obama family. It was always one of condescension. And it didn't stop with Michelle Obama. Watch this. She said, intimated that we needed mentors. Y'all heard it in the clip. She said that people are looking for folks to come tell them stories. She said, we just want to hear stories. We need stories. And she said that when people look at them, they look at them as people that are successful with a platform. So this is another reason why they started, and they're using the podcast space. Yes. She said they don't trust a lot of people. She said some folks feel like lone wolves and feel like that they're estranged, right? And then she used the word guidance. She said we needed guidance, intimated that we needed guidance and mentorship. Who in the hell do these Democrats think that they are? How does she disrespect Black media? I'm not going to say the name of the new Black media, a well-known new Black media pioneer who covered this, I'm told, which I didn't get to see it. But I went to a certain page and found out that her people blocked him from sharing it, only for them to turn right back around and release it. So if you all are wondering why y'all be so strict over there with the videos and crossing your T's and dotting your I's and following all the rules, because there's certain people and platforms and individuals do little stuff to prevent, frustrate, and foil and censor our voices, family. Why do you think our brother started an app? Why do you think we tell you all to look for us and to download the app and to participate and to support and to share? because there are real efforts that don't want our messages out there. Talk black to me, somebody. Now, I'm not going to say the name right now, but the video ended up coming back up. But I saw Fox News, former Fox News folks and all kind of folks covering this. And do you think that former First Lady Michelle Obama and her people tried to censor them? Do you all know they made the effort to block independent black grass media's coverage? Why? Because we're the most legit voices. And we're the ones closest to the ground, to the grassroots. And we truly speak for the masses of black people. And if that got platform in their establishment mainstream spaces, and they continue to normalize it, and we're given the credit, then that means that they're quickly shrinking ratings and influence, which is, like I said, it's quickly shrinking, is going to drop even more precipitously than ever before. Did you all know that? I'm not going to say it, but y'all know who it is. They tried to fix it now, because how you going to let anti-black major media folks keep talk about it, and then you going to come against black grassroots media? Like I said, they done fixed it now. I just wanted y'all to know that. Not only that, but how many of you all know that the Democrat Party and their black-looking shields dogged and mocked our voices? How many of y'all know that folks from the White House had me blocked? How many of you all know that certain DNC folks disrespected us? How many of you all know that black Chicagoans in the same city for years were so effective in their political engagement with the Democrat Party? Y'all were so upset and tried to censor and silence your own black voting bloc in Chicago that y'all made sure that you didn't put none of them up for the DNC. You tried to change the DNC from a physical, actual event to a digital event because of the black constituents were creating such an uproar there. I'm going to say this. Years ago, when I covered her husband singing Amazing Grace a cappella, the platform I was on at the time, I said a cappella, y'all. Do you all know they initially came out to shut it down before my broadcast was barely even over? That's how close they were watching me. The Democrat Party and their shields. They didn't do that to other folks because they parrot a certain narrative that keeps the status quo. What is the status quo? Keep black folks oppressed. Keep y'all singing Amazing Grace together, eating fried chicken together, eating a fish, which I believe in. I believe in fried chicken. I just don't believe that I need to get it from you. I can afford to eat my own fried chicken. They know that's all you got to do for black folks. Do the electric slide or something, and they'll forget all about tangibles. She wasn't listening to our voices. Why did Michelle Obama tell you that her being the former first lady, literally known, y'all, one of the most recognizable figures around the world? You can't hardly name 5 of the people that is as well known living today as she and her husband. Maybe more than 5, but you understand what I'm saying. I'm talking about around the world as the face of the United States. Why wasn't that enough? Why wasn't her books that sold millions enough? Why wasn't the large speeches that she does enough? They're admitting that the podcast spaces that we're taking up are the ones that have influence with the people. So they've come in to invade. They've come in to infiltrate our spaces. And they're doing it a little earlier this time because they realize that them doing it a couple of months before the election proved to be a disaster. So they are trying to disrupt and to infiltrate and to invade black media spaces. In addition to the other stuff that I just said, recently, where they tried to censor a black media person from talking about this very stuff. They tried to fix it now. They fixed it since then. Right before I came on, I checked. But they're not doing it to everybody else. Because it's us that they're targeting. How many of y'all remember Roland came out and others like him again and again and again and blamed folks like myself for the disaster that the Democrats experienced during the last election? They even named Brother Phil and others in one of his latest rants too. First they mocked us, they dogged us. Now they're trying to take up the spaces because they know that we have the pulse of the people. And that is a high privilege to speak for those that they traditionally dogged. Whenever y'all heard me bring up me being blocked and dogged by high profile people, it wasn't because I was doing it because I was crying about them blocking Vicki Dillard individually. It was about the fact that they were sending a signal that they're going to block the voice that represents the voice of the people that they choose to ignore. So when they were blocking my voice while I'm on these different platforms in my own, it was about them blocking yours, keeping us in our place. Like Hillary Clinton said. Remember when she said, bring them to heel? They're making sure that they keep us as animals on a leash. And so when they tell us to sit, we sit. And those that sit, they reward with a bone and a biscuit. And not the flour biscuit anymore, the doggy bone. Because you have got to be uncivilized and not human. At this stage, to jump when they say, how high? And to sit when they tell you to sit. She literally said, intimated in that clip that we needed mentorship and guidance. I got to get ready to go. Before I go, I want to remind you all of something. Sometime back, there are articles out dogging her left and right, talking about how Michelle Obama's podcasts are flooded with abuse from trolls. They're talking about the fact that so many people under the podcast call her a man and a bunch of other names. They're talking about how they targeted Black women, all this kind of stuff. Let me tell y'all something. When all them Black women were coming out after Kamala officially lost, started talking about let us heal like we want to heal, and y'all dogging Black women. Let me tell y'all something. Guess who one of the main ones that's tried to silence my voice and did not allow me to speak on behalf of the hundreds of thousands and millions of people that have watched my videos and my broadcasts and my commentary over the years? Black women in the Democrat Party. They will meet with a white supremacist. They will interview a Ku Klux Klansman. Your Joy Reid will use her MSNBC platforms as we've shown you here on this platform. Go back and look at my last few videos for the past month. Didn't we give you all receipts before I go? I'm going to have to do a part 2 because I'm out of time. Did we give y'all receipts? Did we take y'all back even to 2019 with an actual clip to show you how she literally put FBA up on a chart and called us Russian bots? I've done plenty of broadcasts showing you Tiffany Cross when she was on MSNBC, specifically named some of us in Black media and told her audience, do not listen to them. And she had Rolling On as a panel when she said it. Do y'all get that? The one that had me blocked was a Black woman named Kareem Jean-Pierre, the former spokesperson, press secretary for the United States of America. So when folks from around the world are getting their press conference news, the State Department has their press conferences, other departments of government have theirs, but she's the main face. Do you all know that's the one that kept me blocked? They don't want to hear from Black women. They want to hear from Black-looking women that parried the talking points of the Democrat Party to keep us asleep while they spend hundreds of billions of dollars for illegal immigrants in the United States, when they spend trillions of dollars for unjust illegal wars around the world, while they give the AAPI community and the Democrat administration tens of millions of dollars that's already existed in the government and redirected it to just their communities. They want us to stay asleep while they give everybody tangibles but us, but it's a new day, baby. We are wide awake. And any voice like ours that did not toe the line with the immigration talk, with the reparations talk, with the economics talk, with the social policies talk, they sought to punish and to silence. Miss Michelle Obama, you're not going to continue to disrespect us, invading spaces that we already occupy. Why is it that the Democrat Party and Michelle Obama and them aren't supporting those of us that are already doing what we're doing? Because they don't want to elevate and they don't want to do what we're requesting. They want to do what the party demands. And it's a new day. We are B1, not D1, meaning we're Black first, not Democrat first, not Republican first, and not any other label first. Beloved, thank you all so much for tuning in. Be sure to check out my other videos, family, like some of the videos that I've done here recently about the reparations issue in California and how some of the Black caucus legislatures there is credibly accused of requesting funds that are supposed to go for reparations for the people out there, requesting to actually use those for their special interest, asking the governor out there for those funds. Be sure to check out my other broadcast that I did, breaking down some of the direct conversation that one of the former Crips out of LA connects the dots between some of the Mexican cartels and Trump's policy on tariffs. Is very, very profound. Go back and look at that. Watch Brother Fields live tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, family. Check out my colleagues' broadcast. You don't know what you're missing. Be proactive and get the knowledge that you need. Yes, my name is Vicki Dillard, beloved.